Land ownership is considered the foundation of wealth because land is a tangible asset and it has permanent value. Land is an asset you can touch, you can see, and you can utilize. And the value of land appreciates over time. Land cannot depreciate because over the years, if you own land, you can also pass it down to the next generation. So it's the foundation of transgenerational wealth. Land ownership preserve your wealth. So you can print more money, you can discover more gold. When you discover more gold, the value of gold drop down. When another company comes to challenge the company or come to compete with a company, the value of that company, the stock drops down because it's now two people trying to share the same space or the same order. But land is limited. The number of land we have 100 years ago is the same number of land we have now, and the population 100 years ago is not the same with now. I need land. I am scrambling for land. My children will also need land. So you cannot compare land as an asset to any other asset class. Land is the most secure asset you can own. Differ across different regions in Nigeria based on the laws that govern the states. Although there is one specific law that governs all the land in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the 1978 Land Law, Land Use Act, who said all land are owned by the federal government, and the state governor are the sole principal that have the sole right to allocate land. And in the case of Abuja, the FCT minister. So the law differs in different states because we have rural land and we have statutory land. So in the rural land, in the rural areas, they are being controlled by community leaders, community rulers, and maybe the local government chairman. And we can proceed to statutory where it is being controlled by the state governor. So each region differs depending on the law in that region, but the overriding law is the 1978 Land Use Act, who says all land is being owned by the federal government, giving the governor the power to hold the land in trust for the people. Land scam happens so often in Nigeria because of lack of due diligence. Where you do your due diligence and you get scammed in the real estate world, in the space. Due diligence is what many people overlook due to trust or negligence. Land is a very sensitive asset. When you're buying a land, you have to go through the process one after the other to do your due diligence. In the issue of the rural area, let's say in the states, you have to, and you're buying a land from a community leader or a family, you have to make sure that all members of the family is aware that you're buying that property. The leader of that community too must be aware, must be a signatory to that agreement to be sure that you're buying the right property. And from there, you can now proceed to make it statutory by going to the state land ministry to register your land and get your C of O, which authenticates and give you the certificate of ownership of that same land. So if all the due process is being done, you cannot be scammed. So people neglect the fact, or people just based on trust that I'm buying from my brother, I'm buying from this person I know, and they skip the part of due diligence, and that's why many people get scammed. Yes, it's very possible. You can buy land with any amounts you have. The only problem or question will be the location of the land. So with 500k, you can get a land in maybe a place that you're going to develop in 10-15 years time. or you can do crowdfunding. If a land in a good location is worth 10 let's say 5 million naira, it means you need 10 people to bring 500,000 to invest in that land, to buy that land and sell and still share profit over time. And that is why the new real estate innovations now are bringing in compounding into the real estate space, into the real estate sector, where everybody can own land, everybody can buy land. So with 500k, you can invest in land with the right company. There's no age restriction for owning land in Nigeria, because as a Nigerian, you have to be 18 years and above to be able to apply for land. But a father can gift his child, which is 9 years old or 10 years old, a land. But the child will be able to take full possession when the child is 18 years old. So there's no age restriction except for allocation. When you're trying to allocate land, you have to be 18 years and above by the law of the country before you can have access to either driving or being a director in a company or taking any formal responsibility. So there's no age restriction to buy land if they are gifting the land, but if applying for allocation, you have to be 18 years and above. All documents should be in place before making payment for the land. You have to do your due diligence depending on where you are buying the land from, the location you are buying the land from. If you buy, let's use Federal Capital Territory as an example. If you want to buy a land in Federal Capital Territory, you have to visit the land registry. Check if the person is selling the land to you is the primary owner or the secondary owner. Who is the land allocated to? What documentation does this land have? You go through this process of due diligence, and when you're satisfied, or when practitioner or your lawyer has gone through those process and they are satisfied and give you the permission to go ahead and take. But without due diligence, you should not go into any land transaction. We're talking about checking the RFO, checking the register regularization, checking the CFO status, checking the TDP and data. If the land they are giving you is the same land on the data plan where you take a survey of the land, going to check the court if the land has any court's problem or any encumbrance or anybody arguing the land, or if there's a case on the property. If you go through all the due diligence, then you can go ahead and pay payment for the land. Then secondly, you have to have a power of attorney and a deed of assignment, because even if they give you a document and there is no document showing transfer of property from the primary or secondary owner to you, then you have not bought a property. You are just in possession of the document. For anybody just coming into real estate, what you have to look for is developing areas. The developed areas are very extensive. We're talking about houses or land in Maitama where we have pay 1 billion naira, 500 million, 700 million, where a 400 or 350 square meter is going for 150, 200 million, minimum 70 million. And every Nigeria can't afford that. So, but if you go to developing areas like Kuje, Gwagwalada, Idu, Karimo, Abaji, Kubwa, Lube axis, you can grow as 1 million, 2 million to as much as 10 million, 20 million. So those developing areas gives everybody access to owning land. So if you're looking for already developed area, then you have to be financially capable before you can go to all the developed area. But developing area is opens you up, gives you option where anybody can actually invest. Anybody that has money can invest. Yes, the best real estate company that you can invest land is real estate that have reputation. The real estate companies that are ready to teach their investors, their client, how to do real estate. Not just companies that come around to just get your money and walk away. And part of the example I will give to you is Amozi Home, because there are companies that are addicted to excellence. This is a company that the welfare, the security of their investor, of their client in their priority. They teach you how to do real estate. They teach you where to invest your money, how to invest your money, and when to expect return, how to do due diligence on your own, so that even if you are not even getting from Amozia, you're going to any other company, you already have the knowledge of real estate investing. And in addition to that, we are even bringing up a seminar on the 26th of April at Nigeria Council at the Gates. Here we teach people how to create transgenerational wealth through real estate, step-by-step guide. And those are the company that I think this is a company that I think everybody should invest in, because the security and the profitability of client money is their concern.